Oh, El Paquito. Anda, mimir. I see Pocket Mike in the chat. Este Pocket Mike. You're an animal, Poppy. Get some rest. Get some rest as we are diving into our Terran versus Terran. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of El Dorado, we have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the other South Korean Terran player, the red Terran representing Team Liquid. It is ByuN. Sleeping doesn't give experience. Oh, no. Take care of yourself, Paquito. Take care of yourself. Ay, ay, ay. You're an animal. You're an animal. Shout out to those that are maybe watching in the Americas, whether it's Latin America or North America. I know it's a very, very, very rough time for you at the moment. It's quite late. So thank you for tuning in. And also, get some sleep. Get some sleep, papi. Ay, ay, ay. But all good. Good to see you. Good to see you. As we are settling in. And again, this is a series that we were unable to cover live at the time. We were instead covering Heroes matches. We were on opposite sides of the bracket at the time. We're on opposite sides of the bracket. Here we go. Double gas opener out of Cure. Meanwhile, Rax expand out of ByuN. So ByuN's going for something more economic here. Cure going for something more aggressive, more committed. I mean, I say aggressive. In a way, aggressive. Also safer as well, going for the faster factory. With this, ByuN will take initially an economic lead, but Cure has potential to turn this into something more. Likewise, welcome one and all to El Dorado. Again, this is one of the most vetoed maps in the map pool, but because we force players on it, we get to experience it a little bit more here in OlimoLeague, which is great to see. So we are going to be calming things down. And soon getting to our opener of choice. When it comes to our TvT, I mean, Cure and ByuN do often go back and forth in series. ByuN often has a much more dynamic, much more agile, like bio-heavy force, where he does skip out on Vikings and he does embrace a more marine-heavy composition instead. That is at least usually the case, but I'm curious if his style has adjusted coming into the new patch, coming into the new map pool as well. Ooh, as Reaper shuts down the first Marine. First Marine goes down, SCV under fire as well. Only add-ons, there's nothing to defend. SCV goes down, big delay. Big delay in the expansion. Again, ByuN who went Marine into Reactor. And this first Reaper, I mean, is illegal. It should not be here. Should not be here, papi. But so far, so good. I mean, the Reaper going to be delaying more mining time and diving in towards the main, getting another SCV. Oh my god, this is becoming too much already. Gets 2 SCVs. Second Reaper arrives. He can just camp the production. I mean, the Hellion will finally pop out, and finally ByuN can hold, but this is a lot of damage early on. A lot of damage that should not have happened. Once again, more shots going up. ByuN is hurting. And Cure, is he just going to overwhelm? No shot. Finally, we'll lose one of the Reapers, but the Hellion will clean up. Second Reaper goes down. The Marines, they light up. Oh my god. Almost. Both Marines full. SCV's under fire. Another massive delay on the CC. No. And despite the fact that this was meant to be a faster economy for ByuN, and he will eventually clean up this Hellion, eventually, as he gets a full scout of the main, and sees everything. Oh, he gets another Oh, no. Oh, no. Someone stop this man. He gets 3. He's still alive. He should finally get cleaned up. He gets 3 more SCVs. Finally, it goes down now. Winding it back a little bit here as Cure will take an economic lead. A very large economic lead, actually. He's up 5 workers and a faster expansion, despite the fact that this should not be happening. Now, it is usually illegal to send your first Reaper across the map, which is what Cure did, which is why ByuN had so little to defend. Because the first Reaper, the reason why you wouldn't send your first Reaper, if your opponent went Reaper first, they have the high ground, they get the first shot off, and they win the fight. Also, could be Reactor first into double Reaper, then you just hard shut it down as well. Like, Cure gambled, and he gambled well. He just gambled the hell out of that opener, he popped off, he shut ByuN down, and as a result, Cure takes the lead. A lead that shouldn't really have happened, but I mean, yeah, I mean, the gamba back. Just ay ay ay. Meanwhile, ByuN, he will at least punish the meta. There we go. It does punish the meta back. Oh, it goes down over the moopies. The moopies. Does clean it up. And ByuN can now counterattack. And he needs to counterattack as well. There's a lot of pressure on ByuN, as this has been a rough start. ByuN could be boosting across the map. Cure back at home, settling in. Getting to his own tank production, Raven production. He is ready for a drop into the main. Meanwhile, the drop is actually coming in towards the natural. How much can ByuN get done? Going for the tank, bold move. Dives on the tank, and the tank is not going to go down as Cure, he responds in time. He is able to repair the tank as well. He will shut this down. Couple of shots going off. Ooh. Couple of shots going off on the medevac. ByuN will get out of there. And Cure will hold. Meanwhile, Cure just rushing into a third CC real quick. So Cure, he's ahead in economy. He has a faster natural base, faster third base as well. ByuN at this point might just be forced into an all-in. I'm curious. He hasn't seen the third CC timing yet. Once he does get eyes on it, though, he might just commit. Catching up from here is difficult. But now going for a June drop. 3 full medevacs in towards the main. We do see Cure splitting up between both bases. He's somewhat in position. Drop comes in. And Cure responds. Force respawn tanks. They do siege up in time. Nicely done. ByuN getting in position. Going for the tank. One tank goes down. Massive pickoff. Cure getting choked up here in his own production. Oh, but the disables are the counter disables here. They lock them down. 2 tanks going to be going down for free. And ByuN gets cleaned up. A better trade for Cure. ByuN killed 1 tank. Cure killed 2. From here, ByuN rotates. Still rallying across the map. Again, there's a lot of pressure on ByuN to get damage done. Third is being landed. ByuN reinforcing with Vikings. Third CC on location. So ByuN is not all in, but again, he's committed. Scans the main. Sees the production. I believe he has not seen the CC yet. He's unaware. Unaware of the command center. That's just... and GG gets called. GG gets called. Ay, ay, ay. And yeah, with that, Cure, he will take game 1. I mean, again, ByuN was in a really rough position there. It was looking quite bleak. It was looking quite bleak there for ByuN, and does tap out. GG. We're getting ready for game 2. But that was, I want to emphasize though, that was a crazy start of the game. Like for Cure, to come in with his first Reaper, to get the Marines, to delay the CC for so long. Also, towards the end there, ByuN, he saw the third base, basically. He saw the third base that it was already done. Yeah. GG, GG. Cure takes a lead in the series. But again, that was just a wild early game from Cure. And again, did take a risk in doing so, and it paid off. Did pay off. And I'm sure ByuN is going to think better of cutting corners and being greedy in the early game. We'll see. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of Amygdala, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Team Liquid, leading the series 1-0. It is Cure. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, down in the series, we'll see if we can bounce back. We have the South Korean Blue Terran for Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. We go. As we are going to be settling in. So far, so good. Now, as a reminder, last game, ByuN did go for a Rax expand. He was punished as he skipped the Reaper, went Marine first into Reactor. I expect ByuN to... I was going to say I expect him to adjust, but there's also a chance here that maybe ByuN believes that Cure would not take that risk again, and that maybe he can get away with it this time. So there's definitely a world out there where maybe ByuN goes with the same opener and tries to get away with it. Meanwhile, Cure, double gas. Once again, double gas opener, faster factory, should be going into Reaper. We'll see if Cure gambles and moves out with that first Reaper again. We shall see. As so far, our players, they're going for the same openers as the previous game. So far, at least. Oh, okay. This time we see ByuN going to be scouting the third base location, checking for a proxy, confirms there is no Rex, and he even moves out. As a reminder, ByuN did not SCV scout last game, so this time he's being safer. So much safer response here by ByuN is moving out. CC on low ground. So again, still racks expand, but this time Reaper first. So ByuN, he's learned his lesson. He's playing safe. Or he's not cutting as many corners. Maybe a better way of putting it. So CC's on the way. Checks, he confirms that Cure did open up double gas. So the SCV pulls away. He knows that Reaper's coming. So ByuN is aware of the opener. I mean, technically, this could be a Rax expand with a CC on the high ground. True. I mean, that is not too uncommon. But, I mean, I don't think that Cure is often one to go for that kind of opener. ByuN checks for another proxy here towards the left. And he's keeping his Reaper back at home. Likewise, so is Cure. So again, this is the legal thing to do. Where you keep the first Reaper at home, you don't move out across the map. The reason for this is, if you move your first Reaper across the map, most likely it's going to die. I mean, against this kind of setup, you got to lose it, and then things very quickly snowball out of control in favor of your opponent. So you don't send out the first Reaper, which is why it was so risky for Cure to do so in Game 1. Just because with your opponent having the defender's advantage, with your opponent potentially even opening up reactor first, like there's just such a high chance that things go south for you. So we're just calming things down. This time ByuN will be able to successfully get into his opener, get into his natural. He's getting up and running. ByuN following this up with a 1-1-1. Likewise, so is Cure, going for the earlier drop. As a reminder, because of Cure's double gas, he has a faster starport, faster medevac, faster drop play. Meanwhile, with this tech lab, we're going for an early tank. We have the safety cyclone from ByuN, but Cure, what are we going for? Waiting for extra minerals? I should be tank. No, sorry, cyclone. Okay, early cyclone here out of Cure, but he should be pushing out across the map. We'll see what he can get done. We'll see if he can break through that cyclone or ByuN. ByuN rushing into a third CC. So much faster economy here for ByuN this time. Cure does move out. But ByuN will have the tools to defend. Again, with the new old Cyclone, I mean, the Cyclones, they can be very robust early on, especially defensively. But we'll see as Cure is boosting across the map, headed towards the natural. ByuN somewhat in position. Cure going for the SCVs. Boys are being pulled. Cyclone is real. Nice juggling here. Saves the Marine. But the Reaper goes down, and you see Cure is forced back. Does get to SCVs, though. Gets 2 workers for 1 Reaper. Not the worst trade for Cure. As he backs up. Back at home, working towards his tank. Raven production. Still no 3rd CC by our Red Terran. But Cure is going to be up in tanks and up in Ravens. So Cure is going to have a lot of pushing power. He's going to be the aggressor this game. And it's going to be up to ByuN to survive. To survive and to get this 3rd base up and running. Raven gets spotted. And Cure is going to chase it down. No Cyclone, so the Raven should escape. Raven does get away. Behind this, Cure is still just building up his forces. As a reminder as well, this Raven, even if it does survive, even if it makes it back home, is less effective as there is no disable. Interference Matrix has not been researched for ByuN. It is a vanilla Raven. Still building up. Still just building up here. Throwing down more maxes. Cure, I imagine, will soon pull the trigger. First, takes out the Zonaga. Which means ByuN is going to be more in the dark as to what's going on. And here comes the push. He does move out. As he moves out, Raven is going to be moving in. Headed for the main. Is headed for the main base. Does hit the mineral line. Oh. Gets 1 SCV. Gets a worker. Does, I mean, Cure, he pulls away in time. Doesn't take too many losses. Mainly lost mining time. There's a second auto turret. More lost mining time. Cure stuck on base economy, getting his 3rd base on location. But here comes the move out. Here comes the push. And what's he pushing into? Looking at the units tab. ByuN has 3 tanks. 3 tanks, 1 Raven. And vanilla Marines. Does trade. So far, Hellion goes down. Oh! ByuN gets a couple of shots, but the Cyclone does fall. And here come the disables. It does disable one of the tanks. Cure pushing in. Am I crazy? What killed that Cyclone? But there we go. ByuN, he's going to dive on the army. And will force a pickup. And Cure has to get the hell out of here. Does pull away. At the same time, Liberator wreaking havoc. 19 SCVs! 19 workers going down. That one lib! One Liberator just wreaking havoc in the main. And Cure keeps pushing. Keeps pushing in. Takes down most of the Marines. Just two naked tanks left over. And Cure, can he break this? Liberator finally goes down. Cure landing the Vikings, diving on the tanks. He breaks one, he breaks two. And there's nothing left. There's nothing. There's one tank on the high ground. And Cure, he gets it. GG gets called. Cure, he breaks through, and he will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Cure will take it again. ByuN going for a much more economic start. As a result, he had no utility or no Ravens to provide any support with the army. He had rushed into a third base that he had yet to land. It was still in the main base, making more SCVs, and he was really just relying on his bio more than anything. We had 1-1 on the way, Stim on the way, a bunch of bio-related upgrades, but so much of the Marines just went down in the first volley of tank fire, and yeah, ByuN just could not hold his own. Also, obviously, the Liberator, right? The Liberator into the main base just wreaked havoc, and that was 19 SCV kills. That was brutal damage dealt already by not just the Liberator, but also ByuN did pull the boys as well to try to hold on against the main army. And everything just snowballed from bad to worse. GG, well played. Cure does eliminate ByuN, and Cure, I believe, from here advanced on to the quarterfinals. Did advance on to the quarterfinals. Meanwhile, winding it back a little bit here, we have a match that no one was able to cast, neither ourselves, the English stream, or the Korean stream, but I did want to jump into this. Up first, Rogue versus Hon Mono. This was in the round of 32. Basically, while we were casting Hero versus Nickrat, which we, again, casted earlier, while we were casting Hero versus Nickrat, the Korean stream was covering Mana versus Cure. And this series is also going on at the same time, and I had a really hard time. I had a really hard time picking and choosing between Nickrat versus Hero or Rogue versus Hon Mono, and I gotta be here for this. We are catching up with a ZVT. Our first Zerg player of the night. Let's go! Our first Zerg player of the night. I mean, I say that's something to bear in mind as well for those who are unaware. Very light Zerg representation. Very light Zerg representation in this tournament. For this week's OlimoLeague, there was no Dark, there was no Solar, there was no Shin. Those are the three players that we usually look at to have deep runs in this kind of tournament in the Korean scene. None of them were here. So no Dark, no Solar, no Shin. There was Rogue, of course. I think there was Rex as well, but there was no DRG. Su was there though. We had Rogue, I think we had Rex, but not much more representation than that.